there's a conversation that usually takes place about certain brands.
Mm-hmm.
Kalye is definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Are you pressing your own decks? Bigspin Podcast, episode 4. We are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Christian Gonzales, Kalye Decks. What's up, dude? How you feel? Whoa, I like that.
Starting off, we're starting off with the energy.
No, I like it.
It's not like 10 in the morning right now,
Like
too.
was that a bark?
I think so.
Can you do another one? Whoa, that's giving me like Rottweiler.
It's kind of hot, right?
I feel like you've set the tone for the interview. This is going to be a hot boys interview.
It's getting hot.
Is it getting hot?
It's getting hot.
Dude.
I'm rubbing my knees right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous. I'm not nervous. You shouldn't be nervous. Absolutely. Today we're sitting down with somebody who I personally consider to be one of the very early pioneers of fingerboard vlogging. Now, going back and watching all your old Disneyland vlogs, that obviously had a huge influence on me when I started doing social media. So it's super sick to like sit down with you and kind of pick your brain a little bit. So thanks for doing this.
Yep.
Obviously, you've been doing Kalye for, we said 8 years, right?
About to be 8 this year.
About to be 8.
Mm-hmm. It was 7
Congrats.
last December 1st.
I'm horrible with years. I'm gonna mid 2016.
I think it's like 2017, going to 2017. It's like 2016 going to 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mid 2016. I was right there. Obviously, I think it's fair to say that most people consider Kalye to be one of the top, fingerboard brands that are still around today. Definitely consider an OG brand. We definitely have a lot to cover, right? You have such a huge history with fingerboarding. But I want to start at the beginning, if that's cool with you.
That's very cool.
Okay, let's start. Let's talk about your early life. Let's talk about baby Christian. Where are you from?
Well, born and raised in the raised to like 15, I think, in the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah. I moved here 2009, going to mid 2009, going to 2010.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not. I thought you came over when you were younger.
The baby,
Yeah.
baby. No.
Okay.
I lived in like not too far from the city, so
Okay.
I would say like kind of industrial area ish for like an hour, but then kind of like a provincial area. I actually started fingerboarding before I moved to America.
That's actually we get to talk about fingerboarding. That's one of the things I wanted to know. But when you say the city, are you talking? When it comes to the Philippines, I'm kind of. But we're talking Manila, like the main.
Close to Manila, yeah.
Okay, and that's
Probably
like
like
the
an
main spot in the Philippines.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So up until 15, that's wild.
15.
Okay. So what is, growing up in the Philippines, what are we talking about? Like, is it a huge like culture shock from like the US? Granted, 14 years in the Philippines, but.
Dude, when I moved here, I was like, I think the first few days I didn't go to school because I still had to kind of,
Adjust.
in a sense, adjust and then adjust for school. I remember looking out the window. I was like, it's so different here.
Okay.
I hate it here. No, I didn't. I actually was more excited mainly because of skateboarding. So school wasn't even like a thing that I kind of wanted to think about. It's just like,
Okay.
I want to go skateboard with people here and see how that's like. But then culture shock, yeah, like for the first year, I barely talked. Not that I couldn't speak English,
Right.
but I couldn't talk to people because I don't know if I might say something offensive
Right.
or I might just come off as like this person. So I never really talked to people. And yeah, like it was weird, like moving to the US.
Absolutely. What at that like that far into the game, 14, 15, what sparked that move? Like, what was it? Just like a spontaneous we're moving, or was that always the game plan? Or
I think it was always the game plan. Maybe like when I was 10.
okay,
But then paperwork's back in the day, especially in the Philippines. Doing one paperwork, it's not like here where I can email or all good. I can do so much things after.
right?
In the Philippines, one paperwork the whole day
Wow.
because they're not keen in email us because there's a lot of scammers.
Okay.
So they would always do like kind of like interviews or even interview one day.
Okay.
paperwork the next day, and it's like
It's a long process.
it's a long process.
Okay.
So it took a long time.
Took a long time.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like growing up though, like so still in the Philippines, what were you like as a kid? Like were you always into sports? Were you always into skateboarding or growing up, what were you like as a kid? What were some of your hobbies?
Definitely very annoying.
Okay.
Hobby would be, I mean, video games
Okay.
and skateboarding, kind of, but not really, because products are very expensive. I don't even remember how I got my first skateboard in the Philippines.
Really?
I didn't learn anything, but
Yeah.
it was like a cheap shaped board. Then I learned how to skateboard. I mean, basketball is also very big in the Philippines.
Really?
So mainly video games, computer or internet cafe, gaming cafes, skateboarding, basketball. That's about it.
And when you came over, was it just yourself and your mom or
Yeah,
who?
just me and my mom.
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
That's actually a very tricky question. I could answer that question. Long story short,
Okay.
so
Fair enough.
I'm adopted by my mom here. Yeah. So recently, last year, my mom was talking to me about like kind of like how I came to be, I guess. She was like, "Yeah, they were trying to take your older brother to the doctors," and I was like, "I have an older brother? Like I didn't know. I just found out last year."
Up until last year.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S. or still
Philippines.
Philippines. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I have a brother, but I don't know them.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's why it's a tricky question, but
Okay.
that's the answer.
There you go. As far as for just kind of touching the Philippines a little bit more, do you still like, I mean, because you've been out here since you were about 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So about fair to say like 15 years you've been out here?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you made like the trip back and forth? Like, is it a regular thing
Like going to the Philippines.
to visit like family out there, friends?
2016
Uh-huh.
was at first we wanted to stay here and then kind of waited till we could get our residency visa here
Okay.
or to be an American citizen. Sorry.
Okay.
And then so 2016 we've been in America I think for 7 years roughly, I think, and then 2 years later, we went back to the Philippines, and I was supposed to go back in 2020, but then pandemic hit, so I couldn't go.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. There you go. Yeah. Pandemic was wild.
it sucked.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned you don't remember how you got your first skateboard, but it's fair to say your skateboarding interest started in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Okay. Was it just because other people were doing it? Were you inspired by, like, was there a huge skate scene? Was it video games, or what kind of sparked that interest? What was your first memory of like, oh, what's that? You know?
I think it was we were on our way to go to where my mom is from, and then I went to a store that sells like I guess magazine, kind of like a book off, but a very small version of it. And they had this gaming magazine, and Tony Hawk was in front of the cover, and I was like, oh, skateboarding, that looks cool.
Dude.
Bought that. Next thing you know, I played the game. Next thing you know, I think I skated first, and I don't know. Sorry, I fingerboarded first, and then I skateboarded. After.
Really?
Yeah. So fingerboarding was first.
Fingerboarding was first.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Because usually, yeah, there you go. Because usually it's obviously the other way around. So then, so we talked about like you played the Tony Hawk game and then started fingerboarding, or what?
Tony Hawk game. Tech Deck.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you remember Friendster.
Friendster. We're gonna age ourselves.
Yeah.
We're gonna start aging ourselves.
We just turned 18 this year, guys.
Yeah, we're in 20, we're in our 20s.
Yeah, so you remember Friendster, right? So I have, dude,
Vaguely.
if I had, technically it's like MySpace,
Right.
but to me they're the same.
Right.
So I had a Friendster, and I remember I posted all of my Tech Deck, but they weren't Tech Deck; they were fake Tech Decks. And I remember I bought my first one, and the hardware. There's only one hardware connecting to the trucks, like in the center of the truck.
Okay.
And I broke that, and I would always fix it, like with hot glue. And so these are my trucks, right? Imagine
Yeah.
there's like hot glue going up like that, just to keep
Wow.
fingerboarding.
Yeah.
So I had a Tech Deck first, and then after that, I think I started borrowing my friend's skateboard, and I was like, I kind of like this. Like, I think I can do this. So then, fingerboarding was first. Like, I learned ollie kickflips and all of that,
Okay.
and then I started skateboarding. So it was definitely from Tony Hawk video game.
Who was just to kind of touch on that? Who's your go-to player in Tony Hawk?
Ooh,
Who's the go-to?
Costin.
Oh, really?
Has to be Costin, yeah.
Shout out Costin.
Yeah.
That's sick. When you talk about your first fingerboards being like off-brand tech decks, was that like were tech decks not available in the Philippines yet, or were you just not like able to get them, or like where would you get those off-brand tech decks? Or
I don't know if you've ever seen those videos in on YouTube where they go like, oh, bazaar in Asia, and they just pick up like very cheap things because obviously they're fake or replica.
right?
So we have the same thing in the Philippines, and I remember I wanted the tech deck, but they were, I mean, I guess almost the same price as here now still,
Yeah,
but then they were harder to find because they're technically imported from the US.
right.
So buying the fake one is just walk like probably like 10 minutes to like the store, and then there you go. You get like a 3-pack. Granted, the graphics don't have like Zero, Alien Workshop, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like oceans, stars.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't care. It was
Little
like
galaxy.
It was a skateboard.
yeah, yeah.
Then I made little rails with plastic chopsticks, cardboard. Everybody did it.
Right, right.
Cardboard ramps.
Session the books. Yeah.
Yeah, that was about it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very humble beginnings. And
It's crazy, dude. I wish I could get all the photos from Friendster because they were there.
from friends.
Imagine 20 years
Yeah.
ago. You can like I could get those photos. It'd be crazy.
It would be wild. I mean, the fact that you learned, because you said you learned a lot of tricks, like the basics on those boards.
Yeah. And then my friends had tech decks. I'm like,
Oh, and so you were just killing it. I mean, talk about though your first experience with the tech deck though. Was it? I mean, I'd imagine tech decks would be way better than the off-brand stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
1,000. They had 4 hardwares, bro. It's not just one anymore.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So the trucks won't break.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And then I remember my friend had a Alien Workshop graphic tech deck. And just the shape, concave, the dips. It had dips. Dude, the fake ones were just
Flat.
like straight flat, kick degrees. That's about it.
Yeah.
But with a tech deck, there's concave dips in the kicks.
Concave. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's just as basic as a 26 millimeter, like back in 2006 or 2007,
Yeah.
that was pretty baller
Yeah.
with the graphic wheels.
Do you by chance remember your first tech deck graphic?
do.
What
I
is
do.
it?
It's a Plan B
Oh, dope.
P-Rod.
The P-Rod?
Yeah, it's
Dude.
I don't know the name, but if I search it, I know I can find it on the internet.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's spicy.
Yeah. touching on your skateboarding, right? Because that seemed like it. So the fingerboarding came first, but also too when you started skateboarding. At what point did you kind of realize like this is something I want to continue with? Like more so like how serious were you about skateboarding? Was it like road to pro, like, or was it just casual with friends, or what kind of level of skating are we talking about?
Dude, it's definitely just get better than your homie.
Okay,
That's about it. So my
when the
friend,
game's to skate.
yeah, so my friend has a skateboard, and somebody gave that to him, and I was like, "Yo, let me borrow your board." Learned how to ollie. A few months later, I bought my first complete, because in the Philippines, I think I bought a complete for like $60,
Yeah.
but it's let's just say Walmart
Okay.
complete. But then they were actually pretty good. Like
Okay.
it's almost like a factory gave like the same wood, the same trucks with no branding, same wheels, but just no
Oh.
branding.
Just no branding.
Yeah, because I had like replica Grind King trucks. I don't know if you remember Grind King.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I had trucks that were like Grind King before I even knew what Grind King was.
Yeah. Before there was a thing. Jeez.
I actually have videos.
Oh, really? On Friendster?
2006.
Damn.
I have videos, and they were filmed on a very old Nokia phone.
Dude, was it a flip phone?
No, it was like one of I think it was like one of those phones with cameras, like probably like within 2 to 3 years when cameras on phones started happening.
Jeez, you're aging us on this podcast. I just want you to know that.
We just turned 18.
Yeah, again
today.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm 22, in case anyone's wondering.
True.
What was your favorite skateboard company
At that time?
at that time? Even now.
Ooh, this might be a curveball.
Okay.
Okay, let me ask you, what do you think it is?
What do I think it is? Back then or now?
Back then, like
Yeah, 'cause
based on
was-
how I was brought up, and
Okay.
like
Wow. Okay, so you're not asking me questions. See, I wasn't prepared for this. I'm gonna say, just because I feel like it's a safe answer and I feel like everyone loved it. I'm gonna say 0.
0.
Was it 0? Jamie Thomas?
It was not Zero.
But wow. Okay.
It was close because Zero definitely, I think, second.
Okay.
Actually, I lied. That's third. Plan B.
I feel like you're
Plan
gonna
B
say
second.
it. I feel like you're gonna say it. I'm just gonna say like, wow. Like I should have known. But go ahead. Get ahead.
Willie's Workshop.
Really?
Willie's Workshop, yeah. Because he was the first Filipino that kind of blew up in skateboarding overseas, in the US.
Okay.
So I looked at him and was like, oh my gosh, he's Filipino. Because Filipinos are so prideful people in a good way and a bad way. And then I remember he toured the Philippines and I couldn't go because I was too young. I didn't know how to navigate through like going 3 hours away as a 10, 11-year-old.
Yeah.
So I remember watching the YouTube video. So I'm like, he had a Philippine kind of like spray stencil on his board.
Yeah.
And then I saw interviews and then he skated and I was like, dude, he's Filipino. That's crazy.
Okay.
And then he was actually on Birdhouse, but then he was already kind of repping Willie's Workshop, Willie Santos.
Right.
And then, I always liked the company. And I mean, I have tech decks if you look behind you.
Yeah, we have a bunch of tech decks all over the place.
Yeah.
Dude, that's really sick. That's a little bit of a curveball because that kind of threw me.
I was like, Zero was a good guess.
Yeah. Shout out Zero. As far as for I mean, you would say that was your favorite pro skater.
I'd say Willie Santos.
Willie Santos?
From that like era, and then after
era.
I found out like other skaters in order, I talked about this yesterday with Christian. I was like, if Chris asked me this question, this is my answer, which is P-Rod, Chris Cole, Shane O'Neill. That's it.
Wow.
So none of the newer guys, like I guess now.
I feel that.
Because when I grew up watching them, I'm like, dude, they're so good at skateboarding.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What about Luan? You think he's considered to be older or newer?
That's like a little bit after. Like I think that's when social media and skateboarding was popping off.
No, for sure.
But
I feel like
very good skateboarder. Though.
Absolutely. Oh no, he's great. The reason I ask is because I'm definitely like for the Tony Hawk game era. I was like Jeff Raleigh, Jamie Thomas. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then slowly over time, it's like I feel like Luan's my tippy top. Dude is a beast.
Did you watch skateboarding videos growing up too?
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite?
Dude, every time we talk about skateboarding videos, I always think back. I believe it was Extremely Sorry. Was that the third one? Was that what he got?
Is it this one?
That's the one, dude. That's the one. It was Extremely Sorry. That one for me on repeat. That was a good video. That was a heavy video.
It's a good video.
That was a heavy video. Just to throw it out there though. I believe it was Right with the was it the blunt? Was it where it was Costin wearing a wig? And where it looked like it was Luke Wilson. You remember that?
Yep.
That thing, I remember watching that on repeat because at the time, we were so young. My buddies and I, we had no idea that was like Costin in a wig. So we were just blown away, like, oh, bro, dude from Wedding Crashers. Like, So I don't know. That's pretty wild.
Lightning McQueen, right?
Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Ciao. Shout out Lightning McQueen.
Shout out Lightning McQueen. For sure.
Just to so to kind of bridge skateboarding and fingerboarding.
Yeah.
One thing that I always kind of want to ask, and I'm curious to see what you say because with you, it was backwards, right? Most people I've talked to so far have always done skateboarding first, fingerboarding. So you're kind of backwards in that sense. The question is it possible for someone to fully love and appreciate fingerboarding if skateboarding was never really something they were into?
Ooh. I mean, I would say yes, because it was for me.
Okay.
And also it was cheaper. So
Yeah.
I love that
painful.
fact. It's
Yeah.
cheaper. Yeah. I would say it is possible because also I know that there's older people getting into this hobby now.
Yeah.
That don't want to get hurt, that has families.
Yeah.
So I've seen people actually love fingerboarding and not skateboard.
Yeah.
And that's sick. Like that's crazy because then that could bridge also to skateboarding. I've also seen people learning how to skate at 30. Kind of me, but
There you go.
again,
And you rip. I've seen the clips.
10 years ago.
Are they that old? Are
Well,
you
no, not the.
I was about to say, you're reposting old clips.
No. On Instagram, whatever I post there, it's recent. So
Okay.
I never do the.
I'm telling you that backside flip was smooth as hell.
That's all I can do.
That's all you need.
I appreciate that.
That's all you need. You just need a smooth backside flip.
I like that.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up with your fingerboarding, talk to me about like your peers. Did you ever get any hazing or anything like that for fingerboarding, or even like with your parents? Were they supportive of you fingerboarding, skateboarding? Like, what was that like?
So in the Philippines, there's a lot of because cable is very expensive in the Philippines. I feel like here today, it's like sometimes you don't even need cable.
Right.
Let's go Netflix, right?
I was about to say,
But back in the day,
YouTube it.
exactly. And search up FB.Christopher. It's free.
That plug.
Yeah. And then in the Philippines, they show a lot of anime, and usually those anime shows are connected to a toy.
Okay.
So then they would always advertise like the toys, and then they would always show, like, I don't know if you remember Beyblades.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's like we're just saying how old we are in this podcast.
You're aging us, bro. You're aging us.
Yeah, and then with fingerboarding, it was so crazy, like how fingerboarding became popular at one point in time.
Right.
I also believe that it was popular before I even knew about it.
Right.
But then in the Philippines, usually it's a wave of everybody's into cards again. Everybody's into Beyblades.
Right.
I actually saw a video of a guy, totally unrelated to fingerboarding, collecting Beyblades in Japan, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So then there was a wave of like tech decks, and everybody started getting That's tech decks. I'm not gonna say fingerboard yet.
Right.
But fingerboarding was a thing already at that time.
Yeah.
Because I would watch Mike.
Right. Oh, shout out Mike.
Shout out to Mike.
Shout out Mike.
Flat face. Yeah.
I love it.
And then Black River.
Okay.
So I think YouTubing tech deck, they would show up.
Right.
And then that's when a lot of people started like, oh, that's a thing.
Really getting into it.
Which is kind of crazy to think about it now when people say the same thing, where that's a thing, except this time there's so much thing.
Right.
And with my mom doesn't really care, like, as long as I don't step on anyone.
Yeah.
It's like, do you, boo? Like, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
And then with school, so in terms of like hazing, as you said.
Right. Any bullying or anything like that?
No, because it was like, this is what's in right now.
Okay.
So we tech deck.
We're tech deckers.
We tech deck. That's
tech decking with the homies.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah, so no hazing or no like bullying in a sense, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's sick. You can ollie? That's crazy.
That's good.
It's more impressive when you can actually do something on it.
Yeah.
And I was just learning kick flips.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It is wild.
Yeah.
As far as for so now that we're kind of like, you're in the US, you're already, into fingerboarding. Talk to me about some of the first companies that really, like pro companies that really kind of influenced you. Like, what were your top companies like when you were coming into it?
Like fingerboarding.
Fingerboarding, yeah. So, I mean, we're moving past tech deck, right? Because obviously we're looking at pro stuff now. Who were those companies for you that really kind of like stood out? You love their graphics. Like, what kind of spoke to you at that time?
There's a very easy answer to this one. Black River.
Right.
And Flatface. Because I think they were the only ones who's been there since the beginning.
Right.
Where they were creating media before anything else in fingerboarding. They were the people that I saw. It was like, oh my gosh, that's fingerboarding. That's not tech
That's
decking.
what kind of evolved for you.
Yeah. So I was like, I want that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it took a few years before I actually got one.
Absolutely. What do you feel like was missing in fingerboarding, more specifically in decks, right? Because Kalye obviously does decks. But kind of working our way up to that, what was missing in fingerboarding that made you kind of feel like, hey, I want to make my own decks? Or maybe there was something missing that you thought you can bring to the table. Talk to me about those early days. Like, when did it click, like, I'm going to do my own brand?
It's definitely us being poor. That's what it is. No, it's we didn't want to buy boards. Not because we don't want to support the scene, but like I don't want to keep buying
You don't have the
boards.
cash. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jude earlier was actually
Okay.
the homie earlier from
Right. One of your
when
team
we-
riders.
Yeah, when we went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
He's actually a co-owner at the time. We both started Kalye
Really?
together. Yeah. And then I remember I don't know if y'all have ever heard the story. I ditched school that night. I was in college. And then we're like, let's just buy all the parts. Someone was selling a mold, which is still a mold that the boards from us, that's a rural mold, that's still the original mold from 2016.
Really?
I don't know why I never talk about that actually, that part. But
We're gonna
yeah,
get to it.
that's been our mold, and we're still using it, like I said. And we bought the materials, and we're like, dude, this is great. We don't have to buy boards anymore. We just, hey, I want a new board. I'm just gonna make one.
Okay.
That's literally it. I mean, after a few sips of some juice, and then we're like, let's definitely do this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
good juice.
Yeah.
Very good juice.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah,
Juiced.
good juice.
Yeah. In context. Okay. Talk to me about the name Kalye though. And was it always Kalye, or was there other names floating around, or?
There were two.
Okay.
One of them was Source, and then one of them was Kalye.
Okay.
And that's when, to answer your question more further with the like why, or like what did you want to do that? It's kind of like to bring to the table, right?
Right.
Just cultural things. So it's like the challenging part is bringing my culture to the US,
Right.
and then putting that on a fingerboard. It's like I can put Manny Pacquiao on, and there's like they're gonna know. They're gonna know it's like, oh, Filipino, Manny
Yeah.
Pacquiao.
Absolutely.
But then other stuff like Mango, Eagles, Jeepney, and all of that's like no one's gonna know unless they know. But I didn't care because I was like, that's kind of already difficult because it's like
Right.
I have to show my culture. Not a lot of people are gonna know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to do it? We did it anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, you talked about earlier, like with Filipinos having like tons of pride, right? Like where they,
Yeah.
like with their home country.
Mm-hmm.
Is it so? It would that definitely played a factor in coming up with the name, and I assume like graphics as well, right?
Yeah, heavily influenced by the culture. And I can only, like making graphics, right? For example, I can only conceptualize in like a little bit of it.
Right.
I have to kind of touch like, okay, where have I been? What did I see? What did I like growing up?
Right.
So that's why, for example, those wrestling graphics came out. It's not technically Filipino. It's like it's wrestling. It's
Right.
WWE or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I grew up watching that.
Yeah.
So then I started tapping into my childhood, video games I like, things that I used to watch.
Right.
And then that's what influenced Kalye today. And still today, it's the same influence. Like, it's almost like I get to sit on my computer chain and think when I'm conceptualizing graphics, I'm like,
Yeah.
what did I like growing up? What snack did I like?
Okay.
Like that deep.
I mean, and you can tell like when you look at some of the graphics, like for Kalye. I mean, granted, you have the wrestling ones, you know, and those are great because they're like timeless for everyone. But yeah, I mean, you have tons of like little Easter eggs in regards to like the Philippines.
A lot.
Yeah, so
There's-
it's crazy.
There's actually a lot of Easter eggs on my graphics that I never
yeah.
talk about. Like, for example, I don't know if you remember the hand with the cash.
Yeah.
The numbers there were, I think, 2016, but then I reversed it to 6102, kind of like the money code of it. But then it's just 2016 backwards.
Okay.
And then
there's
so
little-
I would
little
put all
Easter
those
eggs.
Easter
Yeah.
egg, and I don't care if people don't know. As long as I know, I have fun
As long
with
as
that.
you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the name. So what is so obviously it's from like your culture, right? What is specifically what is the name? Does it translate to English or what is it?
Yeah, it translates to street.
Really?
Yeah. So as simple as that sound, there was an explanation that I had to kind of put on the website. So I had to sit like, why did we name it Kalye?
Yeah.
Besides making, I mean, it sounds cool to me.
No, it sounds great.
Thank you. I had never heard anyone say that. That's a cool name, actually.
It's a cool.
This guy's cool.
Yeah, might be the first day. It's a cool name.
Yeah.
I think it sounds great.
Well, me and Jude, we both grew up. I don't want to say, because if I say we grew up in the street, it's like, oh my gosh, you're that poor. But no, it's like my mom would go to work 9 to 5. between 9 to 5, I can do whatever I want because I'm by myself
Right.
at like an early age. So I would like go travel somewhere else to skateboard. And then I would travel far and then pretty much absorb a lot of things at an early age.
Yeah.
Like imagine like a 10-year-old here
Yeah.
traveling to like San Francisco or traveling to like LA. Crazy, right?
Right.
Normal there.
Really?
Very normal in the Philippines. Because public transportation is just I go out the street and I can take a jeepney or a taxi or whatever, and then I can go like 5 hours from there.
Wow.
I'd always lie to my mom. So I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah. If you're watching this, Mama Kalye, we're sorry about ditching college.
No, I would always. So again, from my mom's 9 to 5, I once she leaves, I'm like, where am I gonna go today?
Where am I going today?
Yeah. So pretty much the street influenced me a lot. Like being alone, or not being alone, but like being out there without my mom and just like with my friends, like hooligan stuff.
Yeah. Like being independent.
Yeah. So since then, it's like a lot of things, like seeing skateboarding, seeing like, like a normal cultural thing in the Philippines, like you go to the mall because it's hot, but then you go to the mall, you're going to be cozied up because it's cold in there.
Yeah.
Like things like that. And street art or like Filipino music.
Yeah.
Like all of those definitely influence the name Kalye.
Right. I mean, a lot of the colors you use, right, are even from like directly from like your culture and everything like that, and you can tell because there's so many graphics that you go into. I mean, you probably have countless graphics, but so many times when you do a drop, it's like you look and you're like, okay, you definitely get the sense of like your culture, the pride for your culture, where you come from. Talk to me about the first ever Kalye deck, because we know that you purchased the molds, right? So now you're making your own decks. You don't have to buy them no more.
Yep.
Talk to me about the moment you have a finished, complete deck in your hand. Pause. But you have a finished, complete deck in your hand. And talk to me about that. Like, what's that like? Your first deck
That I made.
that you made.
Honest response to that?
Honest response.
Trash. So trash.
Okay.
Remember I showed you the board earlier, right?
I did see the board earlier, right before this interview.
Yeah, so I did the board and I was already like, I'm just gonna put this to the side.
Okay.
But I was like, no, I need to try it, right?
Try it.
If I showed you the top side of that,
Yeah. Gnarly.
very gnarly.
Okay.
It kind of looks all right from like the bottom of the board.
Yeah.
Trash. The nose was so long, dude.
Right.
And I remember I wanted a longer nose, shorter tail.
Okay.
So a little too long, bro. I could not use that board. So as soon as I tried the board, I was like, all right, next.
Okay. So you saw your first board ever. And I mean, it's cool. It says something that you kept it though.
Yeah.
Because you still have it framed. So I mean, either way, that's like the start of Kalye, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge. And you mentioned that was made with the mold that you still use. I mean, because for the life of Kalye, if I'm not mistaken, it's only been the two molds.
Urban and the rural, yeah. Well,
That's
there
it.
was one mold. It was like 2018. There was a test mold that I didn't like.
Okay.
Sold that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the most part, you
Just
just have what is it, like a medium high and a low?
You say that's a medium high?
Or what do you say?
Kind
You think
of,
it's a
I
high?
guess medium high.
What do you
'cause
say?
the kicks
what
are-
would you say? Because you definitely have a low.
Yeah, the low is like a standard low for most low molds.
I love it. Yeah.
But the urban is, I'd say medium high.
Okay.
Because the kicks and the concave is pretty
Pretty defined.
pretty defined
It's a
and
good shape.
aggressive.
It's a good shape. Okay. Talk to me about the process of graphics, right? I know you talked a little bit about Signature Computer, but when you're really trying to lock in on graphics, when you're pulling from, where you come from and all that stuff, like what goes into it? Are you hand drawing these graphics? Because a lot of them are like really cartoony graphics, which is great. Are you hand drawing those, or what goes into those graphics?
Well, at the beginning, yeah. Like I would draw them on paper with pencil, then brush pen, then scan, clean up the edges a little bit,
Okay.
color on Photoshop, and then boom, there's the graphic. And then the font just on Photoshop. But now, since you can make graphics with Procreate, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that use Procreate to make graphics nowadays. Save so much time. I don't have to scan. I don't have to.
Right.
I don't have to use a pencil, and I can just
Do it straight on the iPad.
delete. Boom. Again. It's so much quicker. So, but before it was kind of like, almost like the style of like how comic books are made.
Yeah.
So it's like penciling, inking, coloring,
Mm-hmm.
same process before. I kept some art as well from before.
Absolutely. So we talked about, obviously, you bind the molds,
Mm-hmm.
right? So at this point, you're making fingerboards. But there is one thing I wanted to touch on. So obviously, over time, the process changes for everyone. Everyone kind of figures out better ways, more efficient ways to do things. There's a conversation that usually takes place about certain brands. Kalye is definitely one of them, where there's always a conversation in regards to, are you pressing your own decks? So I have to ask, are you still pressing your own decks?
It took how many years before this comes out? I never denied nor confirmed, right?
Okay.
So since 2018, I haven't been pressing my own boards anymore.
Okay.
So someone makes the boards for me.
Okay.
But the molds, 100% me. The cuts, 100% me.
Okay.
So it's pretty much someone else making my vision
Right.
to reality in those boards.
Right. So, and see, I get that, right? And more so for the people at home that don't understand that, because there are the people out there that will hear that and think, so I can go to another said company, like a manufacturer, and buy their deck, and it's going to be the same as a Kalye deck. That's not true.
No, because again, like if it's manufactured, let's say I make you a fingerboard,
Right.
right? You give me your mold, you give me whatever spec you want, but I'll make it for you.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it's a Kalye.
Yeah.
It's still you. It's still your identity
Right.
on that. So a lot of people criticize like, oh, you don't make the boards. Oh, I'm overpaying. You guys buy Supreme shirts when you can buy Gildan. I don't know. AAA. I don't know. You know?
At the end of the day, they're just putting their logo on a blank.
Yeah.
A
It's
high quality blank.
Yes.
But I feel what you're saying. So, but in your case, it is a little bit more custom because, again, just to drive the point home, someone is cutting the veneer, gluing the veneer, putting it in the physical molds.
Yep.
But those molds are specific to Kalye standards or Kalye boards, which is the rule and the urban.
Yeah.
So then buying a board from a manufacturer who manufactures your decks is not going to get them a Kalye board.
It's not going to get them a Kalye board?
It's not, right? Because they're like, if they go out and buy a board from that other company.
Oh, sorry. It's kind of spacing out. My bad.
No worries.
Yeah.
You're barking in? Roof.
Yeah. I need to be alive again. Yeah. So if they buy the board and from the same manufacturer, I mean, who's manufacturing boards now? The Fingerboard factory.
Yeah.
Yes, you are buying a board. I believe it's by Mallory, right?
Shout out Mallory. Unique.
But you're not buying a unique board or a unique finger. How do you
Yeah.
say? The unique brand board. There you go. And you're still buying yours.
Okay.
Because you're still giving the template, you're still giving your mold and your again, let's just call it as a whole, like the identity of your brand.
Right.
It's still yours, even if someone else makes it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, thank you for sharing, because obviously that's something that comes up all the time.
Spicy one.
Yeah, spicy one there for you. Real juicy. But it always comes up, so I'm glad that we touched on it. As far as for when it comes to as far as like getting your boards, sent to you, but you do still take care of some of the process, right? So you don't get boards just sent to you already ready to sell.
Yeah.
So talk about that. When you get those boards, how are they?
So when I get the boards, I lacquer like one layer, and then graphics, packaging. So pretty much the only thing that got taken out is the production, just so I can
Of the physical
production,
fingerboard. Okay.
and marketing, logistics, shipping, art,
Everything is done.
else.
Okay.
And then before I hate to think that my brand's not going to be respected because someone else makes my board, right? But if you think about how much work I do for the brand,
Oh, of course.
I just stopped caring. I'm like,
Right.
I do the marketing, shipping, all of that, like planning everything out in advance. And then, so they don't come and then it's like, kind of like how skateboards are, where it's like skateboard brands are companies get their boards already graphic and ready to sell.
Right.
Mine, I still have to do labor in putting graphics and then packaging and then all of that and then shipping it.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever gotten backlash for that? I know it sounds like you have, but specifically, can you think of a time, I mean, that you've received backlash? Because you said you've never really fully addressed it. It's always just kind of been floating around. And I say that because, so I've kind of been in the scene myself, like 3 years, roughly going on 3 years.
Yeah.
And I've seen the conversation multiple times where it's always like, does this brand press their decks? Does this brand? So, if someone did want to give you a hard time, they didn't want to purchase a Kalye deck because it's not impressing his own boards. What would be your pitch to that person?
I'm going to ask them, what kind of shirt are you wearing? What kind of pants are you wearing? What kind of bag are you wearing? Do you think they made that? They probably conceptualized it. But some do. Like very small brands do make their own like bags
brands,
or whatever, or
right.
shirts or I mean, fingerboarding. I think it's being more accepted now.
Yeah.
Because with the Fingerboard factory, as an example, here in the US, like everyone's so hyped. Like, oh my gosh, I can finally get my brand started. And I don't need to take time to learn how to make a fingerboard, but to each their own. Right. But if you give me, for example, and also I feel like that's so dismissed where it's like, because you can't make a fingerboard. But if you give me uncut wood drilled, at least drill it for me at least.
At least.
I'll make it as good as that board. Or like, I can make it clean.
Yeah.
Because I know how to make a fingerboard.
Right.
But then I was also afraid of that backlash where it's like, you just don't know how to make a fingerboard.
Yeah.
But then you guys bought my boards when I was still making them too. So
there you go.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, again, thanks for sharing that with us. So just to talk a little bit more about the production of the boards. When it comes to graphics, do you have a favorite graphic? I know you have so many. This one's going to be tough.
Oh, I have an answer for this.
Okay. Let's see.
My favorite graphic right now?
Let's see.
It's Jake's Pro Model.
Oh, shout out Jake. Are we talking about the Jake Sims Pro Model?
Yeah, that guy from TikTok. I see him on your videos, actually.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You know, Jake is
hot. Wait, what am I going to say?
I was actually going to say hot too. Shout out Jake.
Yeah, shout out Jake.
Shout out Jake. When you launched Kalye, what were some other brands that were around at the time? And I asked because, again, we're talking, you know, if you've been doing Kalye for 8 years, and the fingerboard scene moves so quickly, give us an idea of who were like the top 3, top 5 brands at the time. And not necessarily in your opinion that your favorite brands, but just at the time, who were you kind of up against? You know, I hate to use that phrasing, but who were the top dogs at the time?
I'm not even. I mean, I could easily say Black River as well, but I'm not going to count that because it's like I would say that's at an international scale, even though they're all over the U.S.
Right,
which is crazy and pretty cool. Now they're more available now in the U.S. than ever before.
Yeah,
but I would say the Southern Californian brands. I wasn't even thinking about Mike either. I feel like Mike and Black River is just
they're they're in the cosmos.
They're in the Astroworld somewhere, right?
They're they're giants.
Very big ones. But here, definitely Catfish Barbecue.
Shout out Vlad.
Shout out Vlad. Beast Pants.
Okay.
At the time, Boss was also like really good.
Boss. Okay.
Yeah. And that's long story short, I ended up working with all of them after. But they were like, if you were trying to, I guess, make something or like make fingerboarding or a fingerboard brand work, you have to be as good as them. That was my mindset.
Right.
And if I couldn't make a board as good as how they're making boards, it's not good enough for me. So that's why I learned how to make a really good fingerboard because I'm like, it has to look like that. In terms of quality control. Yeah. It has to look like Vlad's boards or Catfish Barbecue's boards or Boss or Beast Pants because they were just so good. Even at the time. And they've just gotten, the boards age well. They're so good even today. Yeah. So I would still consider them there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about the state of the fingerboard scene when you were kind of coming up. So the first couple of years of Kalye, because I feel like the fingerboard scene definitely has its ups and downs in popularity, obviously. But at that time, the first couple years of Kalye, when you launched the brand, you're just kind of starting out. What was the scene like here in SoCal? Are we talking, because at this time, Slush Coal is a brand, just to give you an idea, but they're not doing fingerboard stuff yet.
At that point in time.
Right,
Yes.
right. So, and that's just to kind of give listeners like an idea of how far back we're talking.
Dude, it doesn't even feel that long.
Now
Now that you're saying that, I'm like,
doesn't.
oh my gosh, it's been that long.
I know, yeah, I hate to kind of age ourselves, but yeah, I'm bad with time. Ask Scott B. I'm terrible with time. But no, talk about the scene though a little bit. I mean, do we feel like it's in a better place? Do we feel like the events kind of feel the same?
Events mainly or fingerboarding as a whole?
Both.
For events, I mean, I feel like we're much stronger today.
Okay.
At that point in time, it wasn't as big as it is now, I would say. But it was still big, but just not as like at the last Slush event that I went to, or the when the NorCal homies came, there were so many people. I couldn't even fingerboard, but I also decided not to because I saw a lot of old faces there.
Are you talking about Shredder Mania?
We're talking about Shredder Mania. I
think you're talking about
that was
Shredder
your
Mania.
event, yeah. I forgot.
That was a lot of people.
That was a lot of people. I couldn't fingerboard, but I decided not to because I saw a lot of old faces. So I was
Yeah.
like,
It brought a lot of people out.
I was
yeah.
catching up with a lot of people that did. I haven't seen them in so long.
Absolutely.
And then, but before it was, I loved the competition before.
Right.
It was so fun. Like the competitive scene was so fun before. I'm not saying I don't know if you guys or Clay does tournaments, but there was like for example, sorry for fingerboarding, right? Like the event, there's like I think like a little bit after 12 or maybe like past noon. It's like all right, qualifiers, runs, best trick game of skate. So it's like a kind of like I don't want to say street league either. That's a little too. But there was like a tournament.
Yeah.
So that's what I look forward to. And I'm sure a lot of people do too, where it's like,
Yeah.
I need to practice this week because
Yeah.
there's a tournament coming. Yeah.
So you're definitely into the competitive side of fingerboarding.
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're into the competitive side of fingerboarding. Are you still kind of into games of skate now, or is it more friendly?
It's kind of like how pro skaters, when they get old and start their own brand. That's where I'm at. So it's like, I don't think of competing in fingerboard. I don't think about competing anymore. Or I could be competitive, but every time we play skate, for example, or I get challenged or I challenge a friend, it's a gentleman. What we call it a gentleman game of skate.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be strategic and hey, I know you can't nollie heel.
Right.
Nollie heel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I enjoy gentleman game of skates more than I'm gonna beat you in 5 tries.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that don't understand that. Competition, sure. Go for the jugular. But
Yeah.
a gentleman's game of skate,
Straight to the throat.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect the whole,
I love the gentleman's game of skate.
Yeah. You want to challenge yourself.
Yeah, and it's also like I want to make it fun for both of us when we play skate. I don't want to make it like I'm gonna beat you in 5 tries. I'm gonna feel great about myself, and you're just gonna feel like, oh, you didn't even give me a chance. Not that I can do that, but like I know, like I have, like for example, Jude, like he doesn't fingerboard a lot, but when he fingerboards, like let's play skate. I'll play switch, you play regular, just so you have an advantage.
Right.
So then it's fun for me because if I just do like actually like nollie heel, switch heel, he's not gonna have fun and he's not gonna want to play with me.
Right.
Kind of like video games. It's like, you know.
I feel you.
But then definitely very competitive. Like before, if I don't know if there's videos because I know they were live streamed. They were streamed before.
Right.
Or I don't know if Sorry was, but I know G8 was.
Yeah.
I competed a lot in G8.
Really?
Competed a lot in Sorry. My first ever win on a tournament was, I can't say against Geldo, but I was second place.
Okay.
Geldo just rocked me.
Oh yeah.
But at the same
He's a
time,
beast.
he is. He's really good at fingerboarding and really hot.
There you go. Well, hey,
Like
shout
Jake.
out Geldo. And he's actually the current world champ.
Twice, right?
Twice. I believe it's twice. Shout out Geldo.
I don't know if that was the year where he won his first 2, and I was like, dude, I could have beaten a world champion, but no, Geldo was really good at fingerboarding.
Oh yeah, he's great.
And when I knew I podium as in like I'm either third, second, or first.
Yeah.
So I didn't care anymore. But I didn't think about like I actually should have just tried to win. It would have been like, dude, I beat Shelto, but no, like he beat me, and I think that picture is still at Sorry's Instagram.
Okay,
But
I feel that.
But yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely. So so we kind of talked about this at the beginning, but I feel like when it comes to social media, right? Social media, vlogging, and maybe even like some skits and stuff like that. I feel like when I kind of came to the scene, I feel like looking back when you would Google fingerboarding or you would search fingerboarding, a lot of edits would come up, But when it came to enjoyable content, Kalye was always like at the forefront of that. Talk to me about how that came about. So did you just enjoy social media, or because again, I really feel like that was the start for a lot of people was watching you
fingerboard
vlogging. Yeah.
It's funny because I read my bio on YouTube today, and I put that bio on as soon as I did Kalye YouTube at the beginning, right? So like 6 or probably 7-8 years ago when I started YouTube. I started at the same time as Kalye, pretty much.
Right.
And at the very end of that, on that bio, it says that so I can watch this later on. That was the reason why I was making YouTube videos. So we didn't care if we weren't making content that people want to watch. We made content that we want to watch.
Right.
So we didn't want.
I love that.
And I lost that love for that. That's why I stopped uploading for like 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I started making videos or the vlog, let's just say vlogs, right?
Vlogs, yeah.
So not like product reviews or whatever, like vlogs.
No, I mean it felt very like real world. You know what I mean? Like
personal.
It felt like I can't tell you how many times I watched. I mean, even like meeting you in person or even being here with you is super sick because it's like I've watched like so many of your vlogs and so many that to now hang out with you. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like this, I recognize this, or
it's
you know
that
what I
guy
mean?
from
It's that
Disneyland.
guy. I love it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, would you say that was something that really helped kind of like push Kalye to the next level?
I think because everybody could relate to it.
Right.
Or not, I mean, I won't say everybody, but like the emotions and whatever we say, whatever we like, dude, how many videos do I have where I went to Jollibee with Jude? A lot. And everyone would say, wait, what's Jollibee? So it's like I was able to connect with people and also influence them with, again, Michael, Jollibee's a Filipino fast food chain. And then I would hear people say like, I went to Jollibee. It's my favorite now.
Yeah.
So like things like that, like there's YouTubers on the platform where when they make videos, it's more informational in a sense. But for me and the Kalye YouTube channel, I wanted it to be more personal, where granted I can't have this conversation with or the audience face to face, but then when it goes to Instagram or Instagram, Facebook, there was no TikTok at the time.
Yeah. Aging ourselves again. There you
we
go.
just turned 20.
Yeah.
Mainly those, and then they were able to connect with me.
Right.
I wasn't reading YouTube comments before, and I wish I did, because I have a lot of videos that has a lot of comments, but I totally forgot that's a thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I forgot that's a thing.
I think I saw you post that recently.
And I feel bad because there's like a lot of people that would comment, whether it's good or bad or whatever support. I never read them, but then now I'm like, oh my god, 500 comments.
Yeah.
Go like 101 day, I'm okay. But yeah, it's more in the personality that I wanted to show. I wanted people to connect with me, with us, or the people that I show on my channel, because it wasn't just me. It was me and Jude. Me, Jude, and other homies from Southern San Diego. Me and homies from Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like within their channels or individual channels, like for example, Kelsey and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Like I get to show them differently in my channel to where I could troll or ask them funny questions or just be silly around them, and they wouldn't, not be too professional, and they can kind of loosen up around me too. A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I love doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing that you mentioned that I did want to touch on is you'd mentioned that you kind of lost like the drive, right, for a couple of years there. So one thing that I wanted to ask you about, because I feel like when I came into fingerboarding, I felt like as much as so Kalye was one of the brands that I discovered very early on, but I couldn't help but notice that it seemed like the brand was very just not doing much.
Yeah.
There was still drops, to be fair, but it felt like there was no footprint online at one time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no real social media posts. You know what I mean? It felt very just a drop every couple months, and you know, talk to me a little bit about that though. So you said you kind of lost interest in it, but more specifically, like what was your, you know, where was your head at in those 3 years?
Definitely I started focusing on the numbers or views, like saves and all of that. It's gonna get really raw now, like straight raw. But no, yeah, I started focusing on the numbers, and then I was like, it was good money, right? To a point where I sold for mediocre, because I was like, well, I'm making this money, so I don't have to do much. I'm just gonna keep doing this. I let that happen for a very long time, like just doing recolored graphics or very basic graphics. Pretty much nothing new. It's just restocking, and it's just like money at that point, right?
Right.
And then I remember at one point I felt like I didn't even want to do anything. So it wasn't just straight mental health or family problems or whatever. It was like I don't want to be in this field anymore because I feel like I can't compete with these people.
Okay.
Like, for example, like the big brands or whatever, like I can't compete with, or even new brands.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can't compete with them anymore.
Really?
But that's when I needed to snap back to my purpose and my love for this brand and my hobby. It's like I started creating just to create.
Right.
I didn't create at the beginning of before even Kalye was a name. And hey, let's make money. It was let's just make things.
Yeah.
So from YouTube videos, ads, and all of that, it was because I just wanted to make something.
Yeah, it's for the passion of it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it might
for the
have
love of it.
I might have gotten burnt out,
Yeah.
and also a lot of things like behind fingerboarding as well was happening. So I just lost interest, but also I needed to keep that going because like I need income. I don't have a job except Kalye full time, right?
Yeah.
But as of recently, I mean, I don't know if you saw the new YouTube videos that
Yeah. Like, dude, you're not a guest on the pod.
you're next after me.
Yeah.
Like if you notice the YouTube channel, I uploaded like 7 videos in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Added 2 more last week.
Yeah.
I think the fire got reignited
Yeah.
because there's at one point I was watching a lot of skate videos.
Yeah.
I started watching Thrasher King of the Road, and then I was like,
Me too. I recently discovered
which
that.
season?
I'm on, you know what's weird is I feel like I'm on season 2, but I feel like, were they filmed like way long time ago?
Ages ago,
Okay.
probably like 10 years ago.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Because
They're
that's a whole nother side
Vice.
conversation.
Yeah. So I started watching King of the Road, and I mind you, I already lost my love for skateboarding at this point too.
Right.
Like, I don't even want to say I got addicted to video games. I didn't want to do anything at all.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to read comic books, or just I don't want to do anything because I didn't feel creative anymore.
Okay.
So I watch King of the Road, and I was like, this is why I love skateboarding, because you can see, like, this is good content to consume as a skateboarder. So watch King of the Road. I found this channel that re-uploads early 2000s and even 90s skate videos and 4Ks it. So I was like, had a field day with that. Like, I watch all like old skate videos to like the ones I watched when I was a kid, Baker 3.
Absolutely.
Baker 3, Fallen
Shout
Red
out.
the Sky.
Yeah. Shout out Baker 3.
Yeah, and then all those old skate videos, and I'm like, this is why I love skateboarding. Because of like the way how they showed how much fun they're having and how much hijinks they have or random things they have. And I was like, why did I lose that passion?
Right.
Again, like I started paying attention to the numbers as a whole. And then with skateboarding, I was like, I want to go skateboard again. And then after I started watching all those videos, And then with fingerboarding, I'm like, I want to run my brand like how skateboarding runs their brands.
Okay.
And the first initial thought was, I want to turn someone pro, and I wanted to surprise them and not just, here's a graphic, post it on Instagram, have at it. Which is what happened to Jeremy, which is, I'm sorry, Jeremy, I love you, but I wish I did that at the beginning. But, and also a lot of brands were doing that at the time where, here's a pro graphic, again, have at it.
Yeah.
But so I got stuck watching turning someone pro, right? And or like AMs turning to pros, like surprises. And then this was even before Jake was in Kalye.
Jake.
And that's when I was like, I already kind of, I mean, you told me about Jake, and then other people was like, why is he still not on your team?
Yeah.
It's not because I wasn't looking or I wasn't paying attention, but it was because my brain was just not in the brand anymore.
Yeah.
But then when, again, skateboarding, skateboard videos, skateboard brands, to being influenced by that in one go, I was fired up, and I was like, okay, so I want to run my brand like a skateboard brand. Went on Google Sheets, click, and then just typed out my plan. And then Jake has been coming here already for like a few weeks just to film content.
Right.
And then I would film content too. And I'm like, I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to upload this.
Yeah.
Because I don't even want to. Because I'm just lazy about YouTube, right? But then after all of those thoughts with like, oh, I want to turn someone pro. I want to go on tours. I want again, when I treat it like
you want to get back into it.
Yeah. I want to treat it like a skateboard brand. So like even filming a video, like for example, the welcome part for my welcome part for Slush Cult.
Right. Christian
filmed and edited all of that.
Yeah.
Long lens fisheye. It looks like I was watching a skateboard video. And I was like, why is there's not a lot of people doing this?
No.
So that hyped me up. And then I think after Jake left, and I was like, I forgot to ask him if he wants to ride for me. I had to text him, bro. It's like one of those like, I have a crush on this girl, but I can't talk to her in person, so I'm gonna text her. No, but I just forgot. And I was like, hey Jake, do you want to be a part of Kalye? And then texted me later and it's like, yes. And I was like, all right, cool. Now the ball is rolling.
That's a rad story.
And as soon as I got that, I was already planning a graphic in my head.
Right.
So I was like, send me your signature. Like literally the same night or the following night. I was like, send me your signature. And then I started drawing that graphic. And then while I was working on the graphics for the pro graphics, I was working on YouTube, and I started filming Jake, and then I started filming more of Christian and them, like the crew, the San Diego crew. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, we have all the tools we need. We
can do this.
Yeah, like a lot of like Mike Schneider, Black River, or even your guys' content is so we're diverse.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, do we have a crew here? And like we're not just gonna put out like the usual content that we used to, like I used to. Like even the thumbnails, the editing style, it's all different for me now.
Yeah.
But dude, I think half of the videos I uploaded was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's a lot of editing.
A lot of editing.
But I don't dread it now. I love doing it because even though it's not,
you got that spark.
Yeah, like I'm not making money on YouTube. But then I'm like, dude, give it 5 years, which is what we did 5 years from when we did the videos. We watched those videos. So now, like, you know, turning, like for example, today we turned Jake pro. This is the same day, by the way.
Same day.
I know for a fact that I'm gonna be watching that like in the future, and like, dude, good times.
Good times.
And it's almost like a time machine. And then so besides being different in the fingerboard community, and you know, our personalities are so different, like even with the whole SD crew, with like the people you met earlier, right? It's still something that I want to see when, like, you know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And it's like time travel for me.
Absolutely. And being able to look back is the best.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. Like me and Jude would watch our Disneyland videos. And we would watch, I think we might have watched it before we went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, they know more spots than we do now.
Dude.
I'm like,
new generation.
How did we not see all these other spots?
Yeah.
But yeah, like things like that.
That's dope.
So now with YouTube, It's just to create. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't want to cater to like an audience.
Right.
I don't want to cater to what people tell me like, oh, you should do this. It's
Right.
like, well, I don't want to do that, but I will make this. If you want it, take it. If you don't, you should take it anyway.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, so we've touched on Jake going pro.
We touch who?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've touched on Jake going pro. Shout out Jake.
Shout out Jake.
But let's talk about the team in general. So who is on the team? Who's on Kalye?
Just me and Jake.
Just Jake it out.
Me and Jake talked about this not too long ago, and I was like,
Okay.
I call this the legacy team, not to make it sound bougie or fancy, but legacy isn't like they're a part of us, no matter they make videos or not. Like
Okay.
that's Jude from earlier and Jeremy.
Okay.
So technically, it's just me and Jake.
And talk. So when you say Jeremy, so most listeners are gonna chubby muffin.
Chubby Muffin. I haven't. Wait, you don't know Jeremy? It's Chubby Muffin. Chubby Muffin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out Jeremy. Shout out Chubby Muffin.
Yeah. Big shout.
Okay. So as far as on your team, and I wanted to ask you about that because there are some brand owners who don't necessarily consider themselves part of the team or who wouldn't put out pro graphics for themselves. Obviously, that's not the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Mama, we made it. Yeah.
so I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, clearly, be that you have pro graphics for Kalye,
Yeah.
but I mean, do you like if someone thought that was like, hey, why are you pro for your own company? I mean, what do you say to that?
That was the exact same question I asked myself at the beginning of Kalye, actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't make a pro. That was one of the main reasons why I was bummed I started the business. So I'm like, I can't turn myself pro. But also, a funny story, 7 years later, present day,
Yeah.
I actually asked a few friends, I'm like, is this like full of myself type beat?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I've been fingerboarding for so long. And I'm also fingerboarding. So I'm not just like, I'm going to film you, send me clips, whatever. I'm not going to fingerboard. Fingerboard.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to show you that I can or can't.
Yeah.
I never wanted to. I wanted to be like, I can fingerboard too, but also just to showcase what I could do.
Right.
So I asked a few friends, I'm like, should I do this? Yeah. And I'm like, it's been 7 years, and I think I have the rights to do this now.
Yeah. I think you've earned it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Andrew Reynolds. I mean, all the pro skaters have their own, or pro skaters with companies have their own boards. P-Rod, Andrew Reynolds, and I'm sure there's a handful of more people that own brands in skateboarding that have pro boards. So I figured, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've talked about, so obviously we know there's a Jake pro graphic coming, right? We know that there's a Christian pro graphic coming. Any chance for a Chubby Muffin pro graphic?
Oh, that's another spicy question.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, I can't answer yes or no for this one.
Okay. Leave us a little cliffhanger.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave it at this question at that. We're filming for a full length. We have a name. I actually have a poster, but I never showed anyone because I never wanted to like set in stone that name because we might change it.
Okay.
Or I might change it.
Fair enough.
But there's someone from our team that may or may not return on that video.
Okay.
Not that we're just on about Jeremy right now, but it could be anyone.
Say, what are you saying about Chubby Muffin? No, I feel you. All right. As long as you've been a brand, right? I'm sure you get the messages all the time. Sponsor me. Talk to me a little bit about just that message in general. Is that how you're going to get sponsored by Kalye or any other brand? Or what should you do if you are trying to get sponsored?
I think we had this conversation too at up north when we saw each other.
Yeah.
Oh, was that last year?
Last year, August.
Definitely don't ask to get sponsored. I mean, okay, I'm kind of lying to say that because I trolled my own friends with brands.
Okay.
I'm like, there's one point in time where every week I would choose either Catfish Barbecue Unique Boss Beast Pants. The whole week I'm gonna troll them and I would post videos, sponsor me. And I would actually try hard on a trick and just tag them over and over again.
Wow.
And then it's just a joke. Like I'm just trolling. I'm just trolling the people who say sponsor me and also trolling my friends at the same time.
Right.
But with a funny story with Clayton with Slush Cold, I actually jokingly said sponsor me, and he said somewhere along the lines of, if you want to be on, you have a spot, or like you're on. And I was like,
Wow.
what? Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Sign me up.
Yeah. So with the whole sponsor me thing, let your creativity speak for itself. Because I know a lot of people get sponsored nowadays and they're not
Right.
doing the most craziest combo or tricks.
Right.
It's just like style in filming, style, your style in fingerboarding. Like you can just do literally back no slide, nollie front side, shove it out. If you do it clean or steezy or edit or music, is just A1 steak sauce.
Feels good. Yeah.
People are gonna start paying attention to you,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think like early on, I had this conversation with another sponsor that I was on, and I was like, yo, like fingerboard brands need to really like make more people pro. Like they need to really like bring more, like build up that team stuff. So I'm glad we're on the same page when it comes to that. Last couple questions here to kind of wrap it up here for you. In your opinion, being that you've had your brand for so long, right? What do a lot of newer brands get wrong, and what advice can you give them towards longevity of their company?
I would say definitely start, because I feel like nowadays there's, I wouldn't know the names, nor that I would drop names anyway. Like with new brands, as long as it's like there's 4 holes countersink lacquered, it's for sale. For me, I definitely wanted to kind of replicate a quality that I know is credible. Like what I said earlier with Catfish Barbecue and them, like I used to look at their boards and I wanted my quality to be like theirs. And that's how I learned how to make a fingerboard that looks as close as you could get to those qualities, right? Number one advice is to just keep practicing it. And if you're, ask yourself, if would you buy it? That's, I learned that in business. Like if I made a product and if I ask myself, would I buy this for 40? And if I say no, what makes you think that someone else would? It's like a better kind of like a standard for yourself. So at least it's not just like, I'll pay 30 or whatever. But you know what I mean? Definitely practice on making boards to where, again, you're in that range of quality with I don't know, someone you probably like, or like a brand you like, or a brand you support. Because I mean, you probably have a board from them, so just compare and practice. And another thing with fingerboard, this one kind of happened like a little bit over 2 years ago. Maybe it's still a consistent thing where people ask you how to make realware. This one's a spicy one, and
this is like fingerboarding's best kept secret.
So I've gotten so much messages of like, why are you afraid to tell me this? Because we're not even gonna be in the same bracket, or whatever comment they left me that time. Which I don't take offense in that, but I'm just like, dude, do you think like we would just let go of like something that took us time to learn, process, and all of that? And so I think the misconception in realware, let's just talk about that. If you have realware, automatically you're gonna for what I think, like people are just gonna make money off of fingerboarding if you have realware, because maybe the conception is, oh, they're buying Kalye's because it's realware. So if we have that, we make the same sales, or we make money too. But in reality, it's the marketing. So it's like, I mean, if you find a brand that doesn't do a lot of marketing, they can have good products. And a brand that has okay product, but then good marketing, who do you think would sell more?
100% marketing.
Right? Yeah. So
market it.
Definitely focus on marketing as well. Because it's so much fun too. Like marketing is so fun, and
you can
especially
get real creative with it.
Yeah, like for example, like Jake's ad for like "Welcome to the team." I'm like, dude, I can do whatever I want with this. So I'm not just gonna put his photo on Photoshop, text "Welcome to team," which what I did for Jeremy, Jude, and every other team writers from back in the day. And I thought that was rad. But then now it's like, what a doodle. I don't know if you saw the ad on the
the gold chain and.
Yeah, that one. I don't know if you read what I wrote around there. I wrote a lot of things like around that
Just
photo.
scribbling around Jake.
Yeah, but it wasn't just like random words. It was a
Yeah.
sentence I wrote and things I was thinking about
Uh-huh.
at the time. And I'm like, at the end of that, okay, I'm done. Like, like things like that. It's fun to do
Yeah.
marketing. Tap into your creativity and obviously do something that separates you from me. Like, because I'm trying to separate myself from everyone else.
Right.
So separate yourself from everyone else and you'll find a place where it's like, this is me. This is my identity. This is how I'm creative, or I'm creative in this way. And my boards, I do it like this. So
Absolutely. So for younger brands, marketing and be super self-aware.
yeah, that too.
There you go. Absolutely. So obviously we talked a lot about Kalye, right?
Yep.
I just have a couple questions in regards to more of Christian as a fingerboarder yourself. Talk to me real quick about your current sponsors and your dream sponsors.
Ooh, dream sponsor.
Dream sponsors. We all got them. It's okay.
I like that question.
Go ahead. Do you like that?
Yeah. So current sponsors.
Current
Could I
sponsors.
say my own brand? No,
I
right?
would say you're pro for your own brand. You have your name on a board.
I'm pro mom. Yeah, that's true.
Pro.
I mean, Kalye, right?
Pro for Kalye.
Slush Gold.
Slash call.
I think that's it. I actually got kicked off Ill Pills.
Did you really?
Okay, no bad blood with Ill Pills. I think they just wanted to have deck riders and wheel riders as one.
Really?
From what I've heard. So I love Bike. Bike is, he took care of me in the Philippines. We ate a lot of good food, and he's a great guy. So no hate towards Ill Pills. But I think that's what happened. So I'm not on.
They have riders who do the wheels, but are sponsored by deck companies. But
I think those people got kicked off, and I'm one
Really?
of them. Yeah.
maybe we'll have to. That's a conversation for another cast.
But I used to be on Ill Pills. So now I believe just my brand and Slush. Oh, dude, I feel like I'm forgetting something. No, I don't think so. That's it.
Okay. What is your go-to Jollibee order?
Oh, C3 spicy with adobo rice.
Oh, the adobo rice is fire.
Peach mango pie. Yum burger with cheese. Chris, we talked about this.
We
earlier.
did. I
Cheese.
messed up. I didn't get the cheese.
Gotta add the cheese.
Get cheese next time for sure.
And then the pineapple drink.
I love that. How do you keep fingerboarding fresh all these years?
Me?
Yeah, like how do you not lose it? I mean, I know we talked about taking a break on social media.
I lost it for 3 years. Anyway.
Yeah. So just yeah, right. So we just talked about that.
Yeah.
But as far as for fingerboarding itself in general, right? Because it's a hobby like anything else.
Yep.
Right. You can be as passionate as you want or love it as much as you want, but
Yep.
tomorrow when you wake up, what's going to inspire you to pick up your fingerboard and keep doing the same tricks over and over?
As a fingerboarder or as a brand owner?
Fingerboarder.
Because
Talking about Christian.
I have two different answers.
We're
But
talking about Christian, right?
fingerboarder
Yeah.
to film for my new part.
Hey, filming with the homies.
And also just spending time with friends. Because I've created friends that I met through fingerboarding and our friendship surpassed fingerboarding. So we can be in a car and not talk about fingerboarding and we'll be fine. Yeah. I would say that. Like the friendship I make, filming and then just putting out new stuff on the internet just for people to enjoy or not. But for me, it's just, again, leaving what I could pick up later on and watch later on.
Absolutely. Where do you see Kalye in 5 years?
Ooh, in Street League for sure. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
5 years?
I like that. I like the confidence.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I didn't work that far ahead.
No.
Definitely more riders.
Still going though.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
More riders,
Okay.
and to where we can call it like, I mean, I guess me and Jake, we can call that a family, but like more riders
Kalye family.
too. Yeah. So if we have more riders, like imagine doing a tour. Imagine going on a van, like a skate trip with 6
That'd be
people in the
gnarly.
car for fingerboarding.
Yeah.
It would be crazy.
That would be pretty wild.
And then I don't know, maybe attempt to innovate in some shape or form in fingerboarding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any chance for Kalye merch or Kalye obstacles, Kalye wheels, Kalye trucks?
So anything
like
besides
that?
a deck.
Anything besides a deck? Any chance?
I mean, since I kind of just started getting back into the groove of my creativity, it all focused on the boards again. But for clothing, I think for clothing I wanted to separate that from fingerboarding, but
Really?
also maybe for just a personal thing. But I don't think I would want to sell. I know people who own clothing brands, and that's if my brand is already stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
Imagine like with that with clothing or
Yeah.
other, I guess, pieces. Maybe
Maybe some hoodies, please.
hoodies would be cool.
Kalye hoodies would be cool.
That would be. I'm surprised I don't have one.
I'm surprised you don't have one.
I actually printed a windbreaker. That
There
was
you
like,
go.
oh, you know
Okay.
who has a badass like
101.
1-of-1? Chris Beast Pants.
What?
He pulled up with one sorry event. He pulled up with a starter jacket,
Yeah.
and on the back, you know where like your name would be if it was a jersey.
Yeah.
It says Feral with his font embroidered, and I'm like, that guy's badass.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I want to make something like that. So I made like a windbreaker, cheap
Yeah.
one, cheap. I had the name or the Kalye here. I think it might have been heat transferred, and then on the back it had our very very first logo with the Roman numerals 2016. I forgot what else I put. So it was almost like I don't want to say a gang or fraternity. Like it's like,
Right.
yo, what's that? What is he wearing?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fingerboard brand.
Fingerboard brand.
But eventually, I think for hoodies. But again, I think that's just for like homies.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. Last question here, and then we're gonna get to some hot takes. Go-to trucks and wheels.
Go to trucks and wheels.
Yeah.
Go to trucks first. Technically, whatever I have, because I haven't bought trucks in so long.
Right.
So whatever I have. Actually, I could answer that with my 34. I would go with Dynamics.
Okay.
34s. Wheels, Joy Colts.
Joy Colts. Sounds good. Let's get to these hot takes.
Yeah.
Ready for this? This is the way we're gonna do them. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and read them off. Okay. And the way we're going to do them is you're not allowed to give any back and forth on it. All right. So it's literally just going to be, I'm going to say 2 words. First one that comes to mind as quickly as possible.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Wait. Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Skateboarding, fingerboarding.
Fingerboarding.
Jollibee, KFC.
That's not a question. Jollibee.
Nollie heel or switch heel.
Nollie heel.
Dogs or cats.
Dogs.
Tacos or burritos.
Burritos. Fat ones. Juicy ones.
We should have got burritos.
Big
today.
juicer ones.
Yeah, dude, we messed up. All right. Taylor Swift or Kanye West?
Taylor Swift. I liked her first. Oh no, dude.
Dude. Shout out, Mother Taylor.
God bless you.
Yeah, there you go.
No, sure.
Standing seshing or sitting down seshing?
Standing for sure.
I like that. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
I didn't have resources to listen to neither of them.
You're missing out.
I probably am.
Black River or Dynamic?
Do I get one pass?
I'd prefer you not pass.
Okay.
For the sake of, I want to hear what you have to say.
And those are
But-
the only choices.
Those are
So I can't say Bali trucks or tech debt trucks.
for this one. You can go ahead and say whatever you'd like. Black
Okay.
River or Dynamic?
Dynamics.
There you go. Shout out Scott P.
Shout out Scott.
Shout out Scott B. Last thing we're gonna do is earlier today I asked people if you're gonna ask Kalye a couple things, what would it be? We definitely got a couple questions.
Wait. So the whole question you asked me through the interview, that was not questions people want. There's more questions?
There's a few more. That was all stuff that I wanted to know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I
First
just
time
kind
I assumed that it was
no.
wow, that's pretty juiced.
Thanks.
That's pretty juiced.
Is that a compliment?
That's a very good compliment.
I appreciate you.
Big
I'm just
juicer.
gonna rattle off a couple here,
Okay.
and you just give me just your quick answer, quick short answer.
Okay.
When is Jake's pro model dropping?
Saturday.
This Saturday.
What date is it on Saturday?
Today is Wednesday the 24th. So this would be.
Are we this tired we can't
Yeah,
math?
I'm looking around. Okay, whatever Saturday is after Wednesday the 24th.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. this is kind of a long-winded question, but just give a short answer.
Okay.
What is the fingerboarding scene like in the Philippines?
Hot and spicy.
Ooh, love the answer.
That's in a good way too, by the way.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it there. Shout out to Philippines.
Why is he so damn cute?
Who asked that question?
I'll tell you later. And they made sure to put a big pause on it.
Oh my God, I know who asked that. I feel like I know who asked that question. Why am I cute? Because of Chris and Jake. I'm trying to look like them, you know?
When is the next Slush and Kalye event?
Ooh. There's nothing set in stone, but it was Clay said sometime this year if I'm down.
Okay. Yeah. Any restocks of Kalye decks at Slush Cole anytime soon?
Probably after all of my website drops. Sorry, Clay, love you.
Absolutely. And the final question for you, can we expect any Kalye collabs with any other companies before the end of the year?
Civil made. It was like, the question wasn't even, is there a brand that you would collab with before the end of the year? It was,
no. Are you collabing with someone before the end of the year? Only Civil made?
So far.
So far. So possibly more?
Well, I reached out to Clay for another graphic, which I'm gonna show y'all later.
Okay.
After this.
Okay.
But I still haven't finished the graphic, but it's more freestyle now than before, where it's like we have to plan it out and all that. I personally, I'm gonna think about someone who I want to work with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a graphic, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm not gonna ask if you want to collab. I'm gonna make a graphic already, and then hey, you like that? Yeah.
I love it, Christian. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank
you, a
Chris.
Pleasure. Episode 4. Shout out Jake. I did not just say episode 3.
No,
doesn't exist. Episode 4. Kalye. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you.